You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Oh, man, we got a lot to talk about on the podcast today. Ron DeSantis and Fox News Channel just had a disaster over the weekend. I mean, a disaster. And we're going to talk about this, okay? So Brian Kilmeade came to Florida to do this several day long promotion of Ron DeSantis. And what happens a lot of times in media is you see this happen in different things. It's not just politicians. Sometimes it's a TV actor or a movie star or something. They'll take somebody and hype them up to be something so you think they're important or think that an issue is important. So they did this thing with Brian Kilmeade, and they picked Brian Kilmeade because Ron DeSantis was in the Little League World Series. So, you know, if it's sports, Brian Kilmeade it has to be involved.
He's their guy, exactly.
I've never seen a guy who's not an athlete so in love with athletes and sports all the time. It's really weird, Brian Kilmeade. But anyway, yeah, it's just a little strange.
I think I know what's going on.
I guess he just never could do it. But anyway, so they do this whole thing. He went to the baseball field where he played and practiced with him and everything else. And then he told this story that they had everything set up at this one baseball field, and DeSantis got there and said, I never played there. I played here. So they had to move everything and everything else. And they just did this whole thing like it's just amazing. And they're trying to create a president. And what makes this an incredible disaster is not just what happened. It's that this happened in Florida where he was just reelected governor, right? And of course, we love Trump. We like DeSantis. I almost said that past tense because we're getting into the past tense area with Ron DeSantis because Ron DeSantis is messing up big time. But this is in Florida. And I have two clips. I'm going to play the best one first. You know, I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to play the lesser one and then do the better one second. But I'm not going to do that to you guys. I got to play the best one first, okay?
It's too good.
So this is in Punta Gorda, Florida. Brian Kilmeade goes into a diner live on Fox, okay? And Punta Gorda it's not just in Florida where Ron DeSantis has just been reelected governor. It's in the part of Florida where Governor DeSantis spent a lot of his youth in.
I think so. It's on the West Coast. It's near Fort Myers area, Southwest Coast.
Yeah, so this is where he spent a lot of his youth at. So he's popular in Florida, but this is where he's supposed to be really popular. So Brian Kilmeade, he's live.
He's a West Coast Florida guy, West Coast.
Yeah, so Brian Kilmeade's live on Fox News. He's in this diner here in Florida, and he makes the mistake of assuming since he's in Florida, Florida is just like Fox News. Everyone hates Trump and wants DeSantis, right? So he asked the question. He starts asking people in this diner, you know, who they're supporting in 2024. And it doesn't go the way that Fox News and Brian Kilmeade planned. Listen to this. This is hilarious. I'll play it more than once. It's
in fact, I bet that's why Fox came to Florida, because they thought it'd be a shoo-in when they went to ask the locals. They figured, it's Florida. They'll definitely want him.
Exactly. So here they are in the diner.
The election. All right. Rapid fire. Who's your man? Who's your woman?
My man, Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Christy, no. Who's your man?
Donald Trump.
Or woman?
Trump.
A lot of Trump fans.
Trump and Nikki Haley. Donald Trump and Nikki Haley.
All right, so far, a lot of Donald Trump. I feel like we need a little bit of a break from election to election.
Yeah, I guess so, because it didn't go the way they were expecting. Now, let me tell you, okay? At Fox News, they hate Trump, right? They hate Trump. And like any group of people that are in a cell, they start to think that the whole world thinks the way they do. So they're up there in New York just thinking they're on top of the world, you know, and everything else. And everybody hates Trump and they're tired of Trump and they're going to move on. We're trying to create this whole thing with DeSantis. We'll just go to Florida. And of course, they love DeSantis in Florida more than Trump, just like us here in New York, where they're tired. and it just backfired. And that was live on television.
I think when they said Trump and Nikki Haley, they were talking as them as running mates.
Yes.
Not Trump and DeSantis.
Correct.
So they didn't want him as a VP.
Correct. This is amazing.
The election. All right. Rapid fire. Who's your man? Who's your woman?
My man, Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Christine, no. Who's your man?
Trump.
Or woman?
Trump.
Trump. A lot of Trump fans.
Trump and Nikki Haley.
And Nikki Haley.
Donald Trump and Nikki Haley.
All right, so far, a lot of Donald Trump. I feel like we need a little bit of a break from election to election.
Yeah,
boy. See, they don't even want DeSantis as a running mate.
No.
Anymore.
No. And,
That's gotten out.
that really shows you how bad Ron DeSantis has messed up and misjudged things. And
really bad.
This idea that there's Trump fatigue is a Fox News lie.
Yep.
And
it's a media creation.
Yeah, I would love to know how Ron DeSantis has processed this, because he saw this.
Well,
he saw what we just played for you.
Of course. And if he runs, I've said this before, it'll really make me question his judgment and his ability to gauge the people. Here's my theory, and I've talked to you about this. I think he is waiting to announce. I think somebody has told him in the know, or maybe they think they're in the know, that Trump's going to be indicted soon.
Yeah, right.
That he is going to be indicted on.
Who told him that? The New York Times.
The New York AG said it's coming.
Yeah, Latita J.
And I think they've told him he's going to be indicted on criminal charges, and I think they've told him he will not be able to run. So you got to be there. And I think he is waiting until that happens, and that's why he's been waiting to announce. I think he's just waiting in the wings to see if he gets indicted on criminal charges and they make it where he cannot run, and then he'll swoop right in. Because it is really strange he hasn't announced yet.
This part of Florida that he's in isn't just DeSantis' part of Florida. That's the part of Florida where you have like real Floridians. These aren't like the snowbird tourist types over in the Punta Gorda area like we have down in this area. And and when you are in DeSantis' state, where he just was sworn in for his second term, and everyone randomly in a diner is saying Trump, and they said man or woman, so they're talking about Haley to run as vice president. Like Kathy said, they don't even want DeSantis as the VP. I can't imagine how DeSantis must have processed that. He's got to be like, what's going on here?
People have an ability to rationalize things, and when you are so laser focused on one thing, and his wife is definitely whispering in his ear about this, about running for president. If you are so laser focused on one thing, you really can't see the forest for the trees. And you rationalize things in your mind to explain it to yourself. And like I said, if he runs, he really is not capable of seeing past his own little bubble he's created now and seeing this. All the signs are pointing to him losing, but the problem is he is surrounded by people that are lying to him and giving him maybe fake numbers and fake poll information.
Well, but he's got to be shocked about this.
He'll just convince himself, that's just like 10 people. And, whatever. That was just his wife will say, if they went another day, there'd be different answers. So that's what I'm saying. People rationalize things. And I was thinking the reason DeSantis, if he's president, don't assume he's going to be super effective. The reason he's so effective now is he's in a state that has a Republican legislature. They're all on the same page. They put up bills and he passes these laws because they're all of the same mind. He has a very friendly Republican legislature he's working with that he's been with since day one. And they're all in like-minded. Well, and that's why all these laws and things are getting passed here. If he's president and he's dealing with a liberal Senate, maybe a liberal House at that point, you don't know how effective he's going to be. He might be not effective at all.
At the end of the week, there was this fake news story in the middle of the week, Wednesday or Thursday, that Ron DeSantis' new book has sold more than Trump's, sold more than Obama, and all this stuff. And when I saw that story, I knew that was complete BS. There's something up with that. That just doesn't make sense. More than Obama, the first black president, every black person and every Democrat went out and bought that book. So then President Trump put out on Truth Social that these Never Trumper, Lincoln Project, Republican establishment groups are buying en masse Ron DeSantis's book to artificially inflate the sales numbers.
Here's what Trump wrote. Some in the fake news are falsely stating that Ron DeSanctimonious's book is doing as well as Letters to Trump, my new book.
Yeah.
This is fake news in that Letters to Trump doesn't even come out till April 25th.
Exactly.
Ron has groups.
Of course it's selling better. It's not available
Exactly.
yet.
Ron has groups buying his book in order to inflate sales. And in fact, on the first day, his book was already 30% discounted. Letters to Trump has much different pricing and is a coffee table book. The so-called stars corresponded with me, blah, blah, blah. You'll love it. So I'm going to get that when that comes out.
Yeah, we have the other
next month.
We have the other book. So then I got this second clip. I only have the 2 clips of DeSantis. This Brian.
That was a disaster.
Brian Kilmeade just totally sunk the entire presidential hopes of DeSantis. And that diner thing was bad. Listen to this. So here's Kilmeade, and he's out on the baseball field where DeSantis played Little League, right? And this one was really bad too. It's just DeSantis and Kilmeade. They're out on the baseball field.
He's like, thanks, Brian.
Has anybody, Brian Kilmeade, not
Brian
me.
Kilmeade, yeah, right.
Has anybody, by the way, ever seen Brian Kilmeade throw a ball, catch a ball, do anything? This guy is just too obsessed with guys playing sports. But anyway.
Maybe he's obsessed with guys.
I don't know. He's all into the sports. But anyway, this is Kilmeade and DeSantis on the Little League baseball field. And Kilmeade, because he's in that Fox News bubble of Trump hate where everyone's tired of Trump and everybody wants the young and the new generation.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they don't live in the real world.
And by the way, Kilmeade sweats a lot. If you guys know that, he sweats. He's always sweating to me. I see him he always looks like he's sweating.
I'm not a fan of his.
But so anyway, he throws to DeSantis what he thinks is a softball, but he just totally blew it for DeSantis with this.
Oh boy!
So here they are on the baseball field, Little League baseball field.
You watch President Trump come out and try to label you as a Paul Ryan, Jeb Bush type of Republican. And are you worried about being defined because you're governor and you're not a candidate yet?
So when you have a record of achievement, people can call you a name, but that's not going to trump the achievement. And so we've built an astounding record of achievement. The best is yet to come. I'm defined by my accomplishments. I'm defined by leading this state.
Okay, first off, he stole DeSantis there stole Trump's thing. The best is yet to come. That's a Trump line. But notice he didn't distance himself from Paul Ryan or the Bushes.
No, he did not.
Like I said, just totally blew past that and didn't acknowledge it or anything because he can't. Because if he threw them under the bus, that would be a lie.
Well, he keeps getting asked about Trump, and he's trying to take the high road, but that's not going to work for long. He's going to eventually have to acknowledge him and attack back or say something. He keeps saying our achievements, but like I've said, he has a lot of achievements, but because he's had a very friendly legislature in this state, and the state is so red, so he's had the wind behind him. You know what I mean? Pushing him along. He hasn't had any challenges. There's no real challengers. He has a lot of big groups that are helping him, and he has everything going in his favor right now. So he does have a lot of accomplishments because it's a very red state with a red government. But he's going to eventually have to address Trump and say something negative about Trump. He's not saying anything negative about Trump, and I don't know what to make about that. I think it's not because he likes Trump. I think it's because he's worried about pissing off the voters because he knows how much they love Trump. So I think he's really trying to carefully traverse those waters. But that's not going to last forever. He's going to eventually have to say something, especially if they end up debating each other. Can you imagine? That would be a bloodbath for DeSantis because he cannot debate, and Trump will wipe the floor with him. Let me tell you, Trump, they like to make it like Trump's afraid of him, and I used to think that too. He's not afraid of DeSantis.
I did not.
There's nothing to be afraid of. He is like a kid to Trump. Trump is twice his age. He has much more experience in life. And I don't think he sees him as a threat. I just think he sees him like, who does this guy think he is? And if he debates him, it would be a disaster for DeSantis. I mean, I'm telling you, But, you know, like I said, I think he's waiting for indictments, and that's why he's waiting to see what happens.
Brian Kilmeade came to Florida
that was an epic fail.
And they figured, this is what they figured. Everybody in Florida loves DeSantis.
Right.
They're all tired of Trump. And we're going to go down there and we're going to do this infomercial for Ron DeSantis. And it was a disaster. Brian Kilmeade.
You're right. DeSantis didn't deny those allegations.
Brian Kilmeade sunk Ron DeSantis's presidential dreams. Now, the thing that's going on here is, you know, Ron DeSantis's wife has Jeb's wife's talking in her ear, and the wives of all these never-Trumpers talking in her ear about being first lady and everything.
She's already dressing the part.
And she's whispering in Ron's ear at night. And Ron DeSantis, you know, I told you guys I was with Ron DeSantis the week of the election for this re-election, and I told you guys it was not the first time I was with Ron DeSantis, but he had changed. I told you I don't know how to explain it. Sometimes you'll see people that are in love with themselves and they have this look on their face, and that's what it is. But unless he is like not lucid, okay, there's no way he could look at that diner in Florida where everyone says Trump, no one says DeSantis, not even for VP, and not be like, whoa, what's going on here?
Remember when Jeb Bush was running? He kept losing in the primary.
Yeah.
And he was in complete denial. And he said, the turtle wins the race and whatever. And all this
race
crap.
Is that?
He was in complete denial. That's who's advising him.
Well,
are people that live in denial.
Well, not exactly.
And they're telling DeSantis the same thing. Trump will fizzle out. He's going to get indicted. Don't worry about it. You just stay the course,
Kathy,
and this and that. He is their last hope.
See, what this shows on Fox is that in a primary, in a Republican primary in Florida, DeSantis would lose the Florida primary to Donald Trump.
Yeah, he wouldn't even win his own state.
So if DeSantis can't win Florida, which it looks like he can against Donald Trump, he ain't going to win anywhere. And Jeb was smart enough to drop out before the Florida primary. Now, a lot of people don't know this. I mean, I know you guys know Jeb was our governor for 8 years. He was the first Republican governor in a long time, and he was a very good governor. But even before he was governor, when his dad was president, he lived in Miami. So Jeb, since like the late 80s, in early 90s, has had strong connections to the Republican Party of Florida, and he's very powerful and very entrenched in Florida. So he's probably been connected long before President Trump came down the escalator to DeSantis. They probably go way back because Jeb was like the top Republican Party boss behind the scenes, even when he wasn't governor in Florida. Well, he doesn't know that, Jeb.
No,
Jeb's
he wants that
out of
power
his
back.
mind. Now, so far as Jeb,
if they get DeSantis in, they get that power back.
That's
because
right.
They're connected to him, and he's their puppet.
Well,
that's the Bushes are back in via him.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Here's the thing with Jeb, because Jeb was standing next to DeSantis at his inauguration, his second inauguration.
That was a big mistake. I think that hurt him a lot.
And I saw him there, and Jeb looked a little too happy to me. I didn't like it. And what's happened is, because Trump is based here in Florida at Mar-a-Lago, the center of MAGA is in Florida. All the top MAGA people, if they're not here, they come down here to kiss the ring all the time. Jeb is not even influential in the Florida Republican Party anymore.
No.
Because of Matt Gaetz and Donald Trump, right? So it's not that he's delusional about DeSantis. Jeb has nothing to lose. He's lost everything.
No, I think he's delusional.
And he doesn't care if DeSantis blows his career. He just hates Trump. And a lot of people think that the Bush family think that Jeb would have won the nomination and beat Hillary, and that would have been his presidency. And then they would have had 3 presidents in the family, which is very historic. They think that Trump stopped that.
Well,
so they're no, Jeb wouldn't have won. He wouldn't have won the nomination or beat Hillary. There's no way. No, he was a weakling. But they're on just a revenge tour overall. And if Ron DeSantis, if anyone's listening, and I know there are people that listen to this program that have the ear of the governor, that diner footage right there is enough for Ron DeSantis to say, I ain't running against Trump.
And when Brian interviewed him,
Brian Kilmeade,
when he said, people say you're with the Bushes, all this, what he should have said was, I'm with Trump. I'm with Trump. I'm MAGA. He did not say that. He hasn't said that in a long, long time. He did not deny it. And like you said, he keeps just saying the same old thing. My accomplishments. And like I said, that's only going to go for so long. In politics, you eventually have to be willing to attack your opponent to win. And Trump is not afraid of attacking his opponents. We all know that.
So I want to tell you guys about the newest invention by Mike Lindell. I'm not talking about the MyPillow 2.0. Now, the MyPillow 2.0 has that cooling technology in it. So your head, your face never get warm. It has that special material. And we've been talking about that for a while. Kathy and I have been sleeping on ours for about a month now, right? It'll be a month Wednesday because we got it the week I came back from our cruise. Well, just last week, Mike Lindell has released his latest invention, which is the MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper 2.0 that has that cooling technology in it. So your entire body will be the perfect temperature, will never get hot at night again. It is absolutely amazing. So go to MyPillow.com. I'm going to have the link to the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper 2.0 in the description of this episode on whatever platform you're listening to us on. If you're watching on YouTube during the live premiere, I'll put it in the live chat, but it'll be in the description on YouTube and in all the podcast platforms. Because Kathy and I have been sleeping on our MyPillow, our 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper for 2 years next month. But we're ordering the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper 2.0 with the cooling technology in it.
That'll be nice.
This is amazing, especially with the summer weather coming. And here in Florida, it's already in the 80s. So listen to this. It's 40% off with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, 40% off and free shipping. Free shipping and 40% off the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper 2.0 with the cooling technology like in the MyPillow 2.0. And it's a great way for you not just to get your great night's sleep and everything else without ever being warm or hot again at night. Not only are you supporting Mike Lindell, you're also supporting this program and all the content that I bring to you. The Steve Kane Radio Show, the podcast here with Kathy, my YouTube channel. You're supporting all that content when you use our promo code at checkout, Kane, Kane. We'll be right back after this.
From author Sean Smith comes a children's book that teaches valuable lessons on kindness, empathy, and standing up to bullies. The Madison Hotel, available on Amazon. In this engaging story, 3 men arrive at the Madison Hotel, each with a different attitude. As they interact with the hotel staff and each other, their actions have consequences that affect those around them. The Madison Hotel teaches children valuable lessons on how to handle bullies and build the resilience they need to overcome their challenges. Unfortunately, bullying is very prevalent among children, but the Madison Hotel is a tool to help your child feel empowered and confident in the face of bullying. With an engaging story that's easy for kids to understand, the Madison Hotel will help your child learn how to regain control of their own happiness. Order your copy of The Madison Hotel, available in Kindle and paperback, and give your child the tools they need to feel proud of themselves and confident in their ability to handle any challenge. Make a positive impact in your child's life today with The Madison Hotel from author Sean Smith, available on Amazon. Get ready to take flight with Take Flight Empire, the streetwear clothing brand based in Cleveland, Ohio and Smyrna, Georgia. Take Flight Empire is also known as the Inspirational Brand. They specialize in custom t-shirts, hoodies, jogging suits, and much more. Their designs are inspired by creativity in all forms of art. With Take Flight Empire, you can show off your unique style and embrace your creativity. Their clothes are made for those who dare to be different and stand out from the crowd. Follow Take Flight Empire on Instagram at tfe.clothingbrand to see their latest designs and get inspired for your next outfit. And don't forget to check out their website at takeflightempire.org to shop their collection and take your style to new heights. Take Flight Empire, the streetwear brand that inspires you to soar. Takeflightempire.org. Are you ready for an adventure like no other? Then you need to read The Mountain from author YYGA, available on Amazon. This thrilling history follows a group of friends as they hike a mountain that has long been shrouded in mystery and terror. Chapter by chapter, you'll follow their journey through the treacherous terrain and the terrifying encounter with an evil creature that pursues them relentlessly. But the friends aren't ones to give up easily. Armed with only their wits and a few makeshift weapons, they gather their courage and face the creature head on in a battle that will change them forever. The Mountain is a short but intense read that will keep you on the edge of your seat until the very end. With each page, you'll discover new secrets about the mountain and the ancient evil that has been trapped within it for centuries. So if you're ready to face your fears and go on a journey you'll never forget, head over to Amazon.com and order your copy of The Mountain from author YYGA. It's a must-read for any lover of adventure and mystery.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Okay, so Fox News is under all kinds of problems here, right? And I've got two clips here. They're really good. And I know a lot of you will say, I don't like Fox News, so good. No, what I'm going to share with you, you don't want to say good to that, because everything that is done is a precedent. You know, the entire system of law in this country is based on legal precedent, right? That's why people cite case law, like, you know, such and such versus such and such, you know, establish this and that. Once these evil people in the Democrat Party do something and get away with it, they'll continue to do it, and they'll cite the previous example as making it okay to do what they're doing this time, even when they make it worse. So what I'm talking about is they're talking about outlawing Fox News Channel. And I know Elijah said, well, good. Come on, it's America. We don't want to ban news people, even if we don't like what they report. But if they outlaw Fox News, what's next? Breitbart, Newsmax. You understand what I mean? Yeah. That's a very dangerous precedent, right? So this is Eric Swalwell. Isn't Eric Swalwell the one that was having sex with the Chinese spy?
Yes.
Okay. He's on CNN over the weekend. And I've got two clips of this. This is Eric Swalwell. And then I got another one with Jean-Pierre. So first, let's go to Swalwell.
I think about our troops, and I've been all over the world and have visited our troops in some of the harshest places, and nothing makes them feel more like home than their access, you know, to American television programming. And a popular channel is Fox News. And again, I don't want to get in the business of telling troops what they can and cannot watch. But if you have a news station that a court is going to rule is in its evening hour, perpetuating dis and misinformation, I don't know if I disagree with Bo Betts, who is saying that we need to take a look at how this is being broadcast to our troops. I hope that's an incentive for Fox News to clean up its evening hour. Starting with Tucker Carlson and going late into the evening with Laura Ingraham. They all spun and told these lies. So I don't think we're without complete recourse.
Okay. So the people that put their lives on the line for American freedom should be forbidden from watching the television news they want to watch.
He's making a threat.
And
that's a threat.
Yeah. And, notice what this really is about. It's about Tucker Carlson, and it's a follow-up to last week when they shut him down from his January 6th reporting, which they shut him down for the whole week. I mean, he did that first night on Monday, and he just did a rehash of Mondays all week, and by Friday, he wasn't even talking about it anymore.
He's a real coward. I'm sorry. I have no respect for him. If I know he's making a lot of money and all this, and he's got the top show. But if I had a show like that, and this is so important for people to know, and I had such good stuff, and they told me this, and they said, you can't run it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, Cheryl Atkinson has so much more class and balls than he does. And he should have gone on the show and said, they won't let me play this.
Yeah.
They're making me hide this from you. It's explosive video, and they won't let me play it on the show. But he won't do it because he's afraid. He's afraid of losing his job, and I understand that. But some things are more important in life. And now we know that he is a fraud, and he has absolutely no conviction at all. None. I mean, he's all about money and fame. There's nothing to him. And let me tell you, that picture of him at Mar-a-Lago at that golf tournament with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Trump laughing and yucking it up, I put it in your community section of your YouTube, makes me sick. That picture was taken like 6 months ago, and that was probably like right after he said Trump was demonic and pure evil. And then he's sitting there getting his photo op with Trump just to look good to the viewers. He is a fraud. I'm sorry. It's a good that he got that out. But that one thing, it was very important. But he has the opportunity now, and he didn't take it. But Kevin McCarthy said he's going to release all the footage to the public. I'll believe that when I see it.
Well, I'll get to the footage in a second. But see, I tell people all the time, when liberals ask you to apologize, don't apologize.
No.
When you apologize, you guys, if you've been listening to me for a long time, have heard me talk about this a lot. Every time someone apologizes. I did this once, and I didn't apologize because I had to or I was told to. I had an exchange with one jerk that called on the air, and this guy had like a nervous breakdown in tears. I mean, this guy's like in tears for like weeks, and I felt bad. So I got his number because I felt bad because the guy's crying. It's going on for weeks. And I said, hey, man, I'm sorry to upset you so much, And then he told me to go F myself. He said, F you, go F yourself, and I want you to go on the air tomorrow every hour for the rest of the week and apologize at the top of each hour.
Yeah, that'll happen.
And I didn't.
What'd you tell him?
I didn't do. I told him to go blank himself. I said, "Are you crazy?" I told him. I said, "Listen, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm only apologizing because you're so you're so girly, And I felt bad that you're crying like a woman, and I'm just being a nice guy,
right?
And when you apologize to people that are these leftists, they don't accept the
No, they don't. They don't have. They're not gracious that way.
Any interaction you have, you snap at someone. Like if Kathy and I are talking and I snap at Kathy or she snaps at me, we'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Brian," or "I'm sorry, Kathy." "Oh, yeah, okay." People snap.
Yeah, people snap. It happens.
But that's how like normal people, liberals, take your apology as a confession, and then they want to take that confession and destroy you. So Tucker Carlson did the exact opposite of what he should have done. They went to him about these January. There's some of the most, probably the biggest television news event in 50 years, and they got him to shut it down, and he caved for whatever reason. And then what do they do? Now they want him disappeared from society. Now that they know
exactly
that, I give you an example.
He should have done like what you said. Because now he's coward. They got him right where they want him.
Okay. Remember Air Force One with Harrison Ford, where these Russian terrorists, it's always Russian terrorists or Nazis.
Wasn't Gary Oldman in that?
Yeah, Gary Oldman was the bad guy. It's never like, the real bad guys.
Yeah.
But anyway, these Russian terrorists hijacked Air Force One, and they said, we don't negotiate with terrorists, and then they did. And as soon as they caved to Gary Oldman in Air Force One, then he had like 20 other demands.
That's right.
That's why you don't negotiate. And these leftists, that's how they are. You apologize just to be nice like I did that one time. And then you've confessed. Now I must destroy you. To them, it's an admission of guilt. It's an admission that you did something wrong. Now that they know that Tucker Carlson is a girl and cowered down like a weakling, now they know they got him and they want more.
I got to take issue with you constantly referring to women as weak. Have you given birth? Have you ever had your period and cramps? Okay. Have you gone through menopause? I don't want to hear any more of this crap. Women are very strong, stronger than most men.
All right.
Let me tell you, give you a menstrual cramp, you'll be in the corner crying your eyes out like a baby.
I had a Charlie horse the other day.
Well, put it in your privates. That was pretty bad. Okay,
that was pretty bad.
It's not fun. Put it in your groin.
So that was Eric Swalwell. So then,
sexist.
Jean-Pierre is in an interview with this leftist. I don't remember his name. He's on MSNBC all the time. This liberal loon. I've forgotten his name. and he's interviewing her for his podcast, okay? And it's about Fox News, and of course, this is after Tucker Carlson's big stuff this week. Listen.
Fox News, you talked about it yesterday, in fact, you were on. Look, the FCC, the way the law is right now, it does not cover cable news. We all know that. Broadcast news, though, it doesn't. It's called distortion, and it has to be, you have to show that they said something false on purpose. They knew it was false, and they can be sanctioned. They can lose their license on a network. It doesn't apply to cable. Do you think there's any chance to explore the idea of expanding that, and it would take an act of Congress to expand the FCC's mandate to include, just apply that from what that already applies to CBS and ABC and Fox on network to cable equally? Would apply to everyone. If MS did the same thing that we know Fox did, because if not, why would Fox not just keep lying to the American public without any consequence? I don't know why they would stop this.
So, look, I have to be careful. FCC is an independent agency, so I need to be careful here. But I get your point. Look, I think everybody has a responsibility. If you call yourself
okay, now I'll play the rest of her response. But if you're Jean-Pierre is the White House press spokesperson. She is the voice of the president of the United States, right? When you are the voice of the president of the United States, and a journalist or anyone says, we don't like what this one news outlet says, should they be outlawed? Your answer is, this is America, and we have free speech. Scalia, the late Supreme Court justice, there was a pornography case. I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the high-profile pornography cases. And he said, listen, the First Amendment isn't for popular speech. Puppies are great. It's the First Amendment is for unpopular speech. Okay? And if I were Trump's press spokesperson, right, and they came to me and said, MSNBC tells lies. Do you think their action should be taken?
What about the Russia thing? They lied for 3 years about that.
Well, they don't own that. But I would say, no, MSNBC shouldn't be outlawed. It's America. We have freedom of speech. And we have to support the freedom of speech of people we don't agree with. But let's listen to what Jean-Pierre says. And this is really scary. And the reason she thinks this way is not just because she's a Democrat. It's because she's an immigrant who was never Americanized, okay? They don't Americanize immigrants anymore. That's a bad thing, right?
Lying to the American public without any consequence. I don't know why they would stop this.
So, look, I have to be careful. FCC is an independent agency, so I need to be careful here. But I get your point. Look, I think everybody has a responsibility, if you call yourself a news organization, to tell the truth. And I mean, that's probably as far as I can go. I think when you asked me about Fox, and I think the question that I got on MSNBC with Alex was close enough to that. To the question that you just asked me, and the best way that I can answer it is even Fox News leadership in their deposition say, as I was being asked about the Tucker Carlson show, that it's not news or truthful. And I think that tells you everything that you need to know. I mean, when the leadership is saying that, I think that tells you everything that you need to know. And I'll just leave it there.
Wow. So she's not saying that there's a First Amendment. The First Amendment, people misunderstand. The First Amendment doesn't mean that you can say whatever you want anytime. Most people don't understand that. The First Amendment stops the government from limiting your speech. And right here, we've got two liberal jerks sitting around talking about, and also Swalwell, third liberal jerk, talking about how the government should limit people's speech because they don't like what they say.
Well, right now they're making threats to Fox, and they're letting them know where they're thinking about going with this, which I don't think that would happen. But you never know these days.
They're making a move.
They're labeling them as lying to people. Meanwhile, Rachel Maddow lied to everybody for years and years about the Russia thing, the dossier. Everything they said on that network was a lie. On CNN, they say lies about Trump all the time. They had Michael Avenatti on there, who's now in jail, Michael Cohen, who was in jail, all these people maligning Trump over and over and over again, spewing lies. There were no consequences for that. And now, like you said, you're right. With Tucker cowering, it makes him look like he did something wrong, like he's being punished, like he's a little boy who's now I'm sorry. And he should have run the footage anyway. Can you imagine if he started running this footage and they stopped his program? That would be crazy.
Well, they basically have.
No, but if they stopped it mid-broadcast and cut away, I mean, that would be wild. I think he has the footage, not Fox. I think it's his, and he definitely has copies.
I don't know.
He can release that stuff and continue with what he's doing, but he has a cushy job, and he's not willing. And here you got him, Laura Ingraham, and Sean Hannity, and none of them are willing to put their job on the line to get the truth out to the American people. They're all cowards as far as I'm concerned.
I'm going to make a prediction. Tucker Carlson's going to be fired, and
I think that's coming.
They're just setting that up, and a lot of people.
I think you're right.
A lot of people have been messaging me all weekend. Well, he could just go on Newsmax. He can't. These people have.
Nor would he want
these
to.
people have contracts. Okay, they have non-compete contracts, and also when they let you go and say you have 2 years left, or a year, or 3 years, or 4 years, they can pay you. See, the contracts are meant to help the employer, not the talent, not the employee. So say you've got 3 years left on your contract, right? And they fire you at Fox. They're going to continue to pay you for those 3 years to keep you from going across the street and taking your viewers with you. And after that, there can even be a non-compete after that. But it's not so easy to just go somewhere else. They're not allowed to do it. And
he has a very strict non-compete because he is super popular.
And Newsmax, if somebody has a contract like that, they're in trouble legally if they put somebody on like that. So it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. But I think they've already made the decision to fire him. Bill O'Reilly was number one guy and, very powerful and everything. And they got rid of him on a dime, and the decision has already been made about Tucker. I think that they're just keeping him under control during this primary election period that we're going to start to get into with Trump. He's kind of like controlled opposition to them.
Let me ask you this. And with Bill O'Reilly, that could have been a total setup. They might have wanted him
the hot chocolate thing.
And they could have totally set that up. Let me ask you this with Tucker. Would they find it better to keep him and have him under control or fire him? It might be better for them. He's so popular. It's clear now they can control his show. He lost this battle, and they have control now. They own his ass.
Big time.
Is it better for them to control him and keep him under that thumb of fear than just let him go? They might think, you know what? We got him where we want him. He'll do whatever we say. He reaches millions and millions of people. Let's keep him on, and he'll just say what we want him to say. I mean, that might be better for them.
It's hard to say. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Have you ever said to yourself, I can't work and deal with home? Or, that manager's crazy. I'm not doing that. How about this one? These late hours are so stressful. Does anyone else's spouse do this? If you've had any of these thoughts, yep, we hear you. Tune into the Coffee with Christopher podcast on Spotify. Host Christopher Gentry and his guest open up about their unique experiences with work and in life and share the lessons they've learned along the way. Each episode feels like a heart-to-heart conversation, over coffee, of course. If you're ready to connect with the community of people sharing compelling stories, join Coffee with Christopher on Spotify and discover the power of sharing your story. Are you struggling to connect with your teen? Are you worried about the troubles your teen is facing in today's world? Don't miss out on the ultimate guide to faith-led parenting with the book from Script Seeds, Parenting Teens Through Faith, available on Amazon. Parenting Teens Through Faith is your essential handbook to raising confident, resilient, and empowered teenagers. This book provides practical advice for providing a strong, faith-based foundation for building character, virtues, and resilience in your teen. You'll also discover essential biblical principles for providing hope and confidence, no matter your faith background. Start building a stronger, more resilient family with Parenting Teens Through Faith, available in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions on Amazon. This book is perfect for church groups. Order your copy right now. Calling all pet lovers. Are you looking for high-quality pet products that won't break the bank? Check out Top Notch Pet Store. Top Notch Pet Store is stocked with a wide variety of high-quality pet products. From treats to strollers, toys to stylish outfits, they have everything you need to keep your pets happy and healthy. Whether you're a dog person, a cat person, or even a fish person, Top Notch Pet Store has you covered. They're dedicated to providing top-quality products at tail-wagging affordable prices. Show your pets some love and give them the care they deserve with pet products from Top Notch Pet Store. Online at topnotchpetstore.com. Start shopping right now. topnotchpetstore.com.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. And those of you that are new to the program, welcome. And just for people that are new, just let me give you a little background on what I do with all my content. There's not going to be a bio. I just want you guys to know what's going on with this show because I do so many different things. What you're listening to right now is the Brian Craig Show podcast that I co-host with my wife, Kathy. And the Brian Craig Show podcast, which was named the number 3 must-listen-to conservative podcast in America. Number 1 was Mark Levin. Number 2 was Glenn Beck at The Blaze. And we're number 3. That's amazing, right? The Brian Craig Show podcast is on all podcast platforms, and I also upload the audio to my YouTube channel, Brian Craig Show on YouTube. During the week, I'm on the radio Monday through Friday from 6 until 9 a.m. Eastern. I live stream when I'm on the radio, taking live calls from our radio listeners, and, of course, those of you who watch on YouTube, all right? Okay, so a couple quick things here I want to get to. One, this one's hilarious. You see the thing with Greta Thunberg?
No.
She deleted a tweet that she tweeted back in 2018, which I guess she was like 2 years old then, right? She deleted a tweet from 2018, and what she wrote, this is what she tweeted that she just deleted from 2018. A top climate scientist is warning that climate change will wipe out all of humanity unless we stop using fossil fuels over the next 5 years. Well, come June 21st, it will be 5 years since she sent that tweet, and then none of it's happened.
How long? AOC said we have 12 years. How long ago was that? That was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Like 5 years ago?
Yeah, so we have 7 more years left.
Yeah.
These liberals are godless people, and they don't realize God is in control of when the earth is, what's happening with the earth. Not them, not us, but they're in love with themselves and their power, and they love feeling power over people. And so there's no room for God. They're the God. But God is in control. Whatever happens to this planet is up to him, not us. And it's amazing how much people have done to ward off climate change. And I've said this before, but you never hear about the good it's done or how much things have helped. It seems to be getting worse, even though people are recycling. We've gotten rid of emissions, and we've cut down on a lot of things, and people are having biodegradable packaging and all this stuff. They're reducing plastic and all this, paper straws, but you don't hear any reports about things getting better. It just snowed in Los Angeles. Last
Disneyland.
week.
It snowed at Disneyland.
Yeah, it didn't affect our daughter because she's a little further out. But I asked her, she says no, but it was like 40 degrees where she was. But in the mountains, it snowed so much, 8 people died. They were trapped because they've never experienced this before. So there is no global warming. It is BS. And then they changed it to climate change because the global warming was not working out for them. The weather was not cooperating with their agenda. This is all about control and money and power over people. And it's an easy excuse to use. And liberals, I've always said, are useful idiots. And they'll open their pocketbooks. They'll pay whatever they have to pay for these causes. Look at people in California, a state that didn't even have slaves. The people there think they should pay $300,000 in reparations to black people that live there. This is how insane liberals are. They are willing to pay super, super high taxes to pay reparations.
That's right.
Because of white liberal guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the lady from BLM said gives a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
We get a lot of money from that. And I don't know what it is about these elitist white liberals that they feel guilty over black people. I don't understand it. Maybe because deep down they're racist.
Yeah.
And that's why they feel this guilt that other people don't feel. And they just and it's the same factor with climate change. They feel a sense of power when they live that way and, I'm helping the environment, I'm helping the planet. What are you doing? It makes them feel good, like when they have a transgendered kid. It makes them feel good to tell people this. They're strange. They're strange people. They're all about virtue signaling and having these notches on their belts to go around like I wear a mask and you don't. They just love to feel power over everybody and superior to everybody.
No doubt.
And that's what it's all about. And I think you're right. I think that's why people still wear masks or are wearing masks, because they want you to know, that I'm better than you. And even though they fly around on private jets and stuff, they'll pay 40% taxes. Well, I'm doing my part. It makes them feel good. They're bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
They're strange people.
Well, I'm going to play this piece of audio, and there's some bleeps in it that I added. I added the bleeps. All the bleeps are the F word. And I know it's the internet and we can play the F word, but I make a choice not to do that. So I did add these bleeps in. And we've got a big problem in this country, and it's racism from minorities towards white people.
Mm-hmm.
And this clip is very disturbing. I'm going to play for you in a minute. But I was watching a video on YouTube last night. It was so bizarre. It was a video of a guy who's an expert on accents. And he had a group of people that they're all college professors, and he was a white guy. And it was about different accents in America. He was talking about different accents in different parts of the country and among different ethnicities. And he had some black college professors on who have an expertise in this, talking about different accents and dialects that black people have.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was interesting to watch. And I was watching it, and I'm listening to the guy and everything. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then when he goes to the black college professor and was talking about how the black accent began in this country, because black people use some different words and say things in a different way and all of this. And she was blaming it on segregation, that blacks were segregated and were separate from white people, and this is why this happened. I don't know. But when she was talking about whites, she was talking about black people and white people. She never said white people. She said African Americans and the colonizers.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
She didn't say white people. She said the colonizers. I've never heard, I've heard people talk about colonizers before, but I've never heard white people generally referred to as colonizers.
What does that make her? She lives here.
Well, she's a descendant of someone who came here against their will. She didn't choose. Well, I got news for you.
Oh, my God.
I didn't choose to be here either. I just happened to be lucky enough to be born in the number one best country in the world.
Yeah. You know, my parents weren't even, my mom's family, my dad's family, they weren't even here in the 1800s. I think most people, its families are here after the early 20th century anyway, when they had that huge...
80% of Americans are descendant of immigrants who came to America after the Civil War.
There was a huge influx of immigrants in like the early 1900s. And I'm a product of that. You know, my dad's family came from Italy in 1904, and my mom from Canada in the late early 60s. But it's amazing how we, white people, are being punished for things we had nothing to do with, and how black people are victims of something they had nothing to do with. I don't understand how this has gotten legs and how this keeps being perpetuated. That, you know, I think some people just hate white people, and this is a way to have power over them.
They justify their racism that by intellectualizing it. So,
it's basically just racism.
She didn't call white people. They're colonizers. We're colonizers.
Oh my!
And she talked about how the colonizers kidnapped the African people. She left out the part how they were captured by fellow Africans and the European slave trade. I mean, do I have to tell you it was god awful? I mean, that goes without. There's some things you don't have to tell people were terrible. the Europeans did not invade Africa. They just came along the beach, and the African tribesmen were capturing Africans and were selling them
they had handed
to the slave traders.
In fact, there would have been no slave trade without their help.
The Africans are just as responsible for it as the Europeans. The United States did not start slavery in the New World. The United States stopped it.
And the United States did not start slavery. Slavery has been around since biblical times. They had slaves during the Renaissance. I didn't even know that. I was reading a book on the Renaissance, and they had indentured servants, and they had slavery then.
You know what? There's some new research.
Which was the most enlightened city in the world at the time.
Listen to this, okay? Now, there's some new research that's coming out, and this is going to be so suppressed because it's going to turn everything upside down. People don't want to hear this. And this is a new bit of research that's being done by scholars in this area. It's believed by some, and I think this is highly likely to be true, that the first slaves brought to America were not African but Irish, and by the British.
Yeah, probably they hated each other.
And what they actually there were historians looking into this. This is not and what they're putting a date to it. Because of the 1619 project, and 1619 is when it's documented that the first African slave set foot in America, which was not the United States at the time. There was no United States then. But anyway,
not even close.
The first Irish slave, they say, was 1614, 5 years before, which is an interesting thing. And by the way, the Muslims, during the era of the Barbary pirates and all of this, the Muslims were capturing white Europeans and enslaving them, men and women and children, for a long, long time too.
It was a very common practice. I mean, white slavery is going on now. You have girls being kidnapped and being forced into sex slavery. Well, look what's happened at the southern border. That's a slave trade.
Exactly. Sex slavery, labor slavery.
I mean, exactly. It's still going on. You have children coming across the border that are being forced to work in restaurants and homes.
Those are the lucky
that
ones.
That are 10, 11 years old.
The other ones are forced to work in brothels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you have that going Do liberals care about that? No, they're encouraging it. They're in the sex trade business now.
So we got a big problem with racism, minority directed towards whites in this country. So let me get back to this.
Seems to be getting worse.
This audio. I found this on Libs of TikTok a few days ago, and there's been so much going on in the news. I haven't had a chance to play this. I've had this since, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday last week, and everything's been going on like crazy. So I'm going to play it now. Now, as I said a few minutes ago, all the bleeps here, I added, every bleep is an F word. And it's a black girl who's in her early 20s, 20-ish. I don't know her exact age, but early 20s, no older than that. And she just loses it. Listen.
I'm feeling spicy, so here's my hot take of the day. All white people are racist. Every single last one of them, all of them are racist. And I don't mean that to say like every single individual white person, if I talk to you, you would have some kind of racist ideology. I'm saying that as a white person, you uphold a system of racism by literally just being white. I believe if you're not spending your literal entire life dismantling racism, then you're contributing to its continuation. And people get so like, whenever like I say like people are racist, like why is it such a big deal? Like, yes, you're racist. Like, okay, we've established that. Now, what are you going to do to change it? Racism refers to power and race. If you are the powerful race in a society, then you're racist. Like, I just don't understand why it's so taboo. Let's talk about it. Let's accept it so that we can work towards changing it. We're never going to get anywhere if people won't just acknowledge it in the first place.
Wow, she starts to really lose it there.
What does she want us to do for her? I'm sure it involves money.
I don't know, bow down like Pelosi and Biden
She's
do.
The one who seems
don't
to
know.
be trying to have power over white people.
Yeah, now I want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And if you want to support the program, a great way to do that is to become a patron. And there's a link in the description of this and every episode to our Patreon page.
What's the website address? It's
patreon.com/real Brian Craig Show.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can always put that in your search too.
Yeah, but there's a link in the episode description, and there's also a direct link on my website, briancraigshow.com. But it's patreon.com/real Brian Craig Show. Now, there are benefits and perks to becoming a Patreon supporter, having access to commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode is one of the perks. We have a private group where you can communicate with Kathy and myself at will. Mm-hmm. And if you become a patron to the program, you'll be told about our secret little society we got there of that. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast episode. Plus the top Patreon supporters, your names are also listed in the description of every podcast episode, as well as my YouTube live videos in the morning. You have your names listed there. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Mike P., Paulette, and Carlos. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all so much for your support. Now, I want to mention one last thing before we go. And it's over at the Coven of the View, they had Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin on. Now, two great grandmothers. Jane Fonda is a person who should be in prison for what she did during the Vietnam War. Remember, she went to North Vietnam, and she stood on that anti-aircraft gun that was firing at U.S. aircraft. That was just, she should be in prison. But anyway, her and Lily Tomlin, they went on The View. Joy Behar and others are here, and they're talking about the recent abortion changes. Roe v. Wade overturned, and they're talking about Walgreens is no longer carrying the abortion pill.
In some states.
And California tossed them out.
Because it's illegal to do it.
Mm-hmm. So here's Joy Behar, Lily Tomlin, and Jane Fonda. Listen.
So Walgreens, I guess, has to follow the law. But we find that very upsetting.
Daunting, right.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
Well, I think all the stuff that's gone on with the change in laws and the backsliding in the country is pretty terrifically awful.
It's going backwards.
And we
though, we have experienced many decades now of having agency over our body, of being able to determine when and how many children to have. We know what that feels like. We know what that's done for our lives. We're not going back. I don't care what the laws are. We're not going back.
I think the women will rise up.
That's the activist.
That's Jane
speaking, and she probably will get a Nobel Prize.
But it's the truth.
Very soon.
It is the truth. But we're not going to do it.
Besides marching and protesting, what else do you suggest?
Well, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not a miraculous. What did you say?
Murder.
She's kidding. Wait a second. She's just kidding.
Don't say that. That's
you don't know. They'll pick up on that and just run with it.
That's the worst.
Oh, yeah. She's okay. Couple things. She's Jane Fonda, very deep voice there. Jane Fonda said those who disagree with her on a baby's right to be born should be murdered.
Incredible.
Killed.
Well, they have no problem killing babies, so why not add other people to this?
And she said this on national television. Now, which, again, also may be illegal to say something like that on a national broadcast.
This is where the liberal mind is.
But this is a big hypocrisy, okay? There's no – these are the two oldest feminists, right? Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. And what I've heard my entire life from these feminazis like this – Rush used to call them feminazis. What I used to hear from these old feminists like this all the time is men should not give an opinion on abortion because men cannot become pregnant. Well, Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda have not been able to be pregnant like in 45 years. Maybe 50. I mean, how long has it been since they've gone through menopause? So if they can't get pregnant anymore, why are they rendering opinions? But Jane Fonda, there's this little clip of Jane Fonda is going wild all over the place. Marjorie Taylor Greene
responded.
Made sure of that.
Big, yeah.
So Jane Fonda has 2 points in her life that she's going to be remembered for. This is the last one. She wants people.
What a stupid thing to say.
She wants to murder people who have a disagreement with her. Right? What is she? She's like Stalin. And the first one is when she went to North Vietnam and did those disgusting things she did in North Vietnam during the war over there. And that's what she's going to be remembered for. Not not Barbarella.
And by the way, she needs to just shut up. And by the way, The View has become a bastion of disgusting women. Women do have a choice over their body, okay? Other than the small percentage of women who get pregnant through rape or incest, which is like 2 or 3%. The other 97% do have a decision. They don't have to have sex. They can use birth control. There are choices to be made. They just want to be able to screw whoever they want. And if they get pregnant, they just kill the kid. And you do have a choice over your body before you have intercourse. That's when you make your choice. But when there's another body involved, that's what they don't seem to want to accept or talk about. It's not just your body anymore. It is somebody else's body. Like, you have women who get arrested for living in there was a woman who was like doing heroin or something and got arrested for endangering her children. They were in the car with her and she got arrested, rightfully so. Women get arrested all the time, and men, for endangering their children through their behavior. But abortion's okay. They're not endangering their child. And let me tell you something. I just put up Marjorie Taylor's tweet to you if you want to read that, her response.
Nah, I don't want to. It's pretty brutal. You guys can look it up on your own. But
I'll put this article in your Twitter and your Facebook.
I don't want to say what she said about them.
Jane Fonda is an absolutely disgusting person. And this is the liberal mindset that you're dealing with. They think we should just all be dead. Like, you don't agree with us, then we should just murder all. This is the Nazi mentality. This is how the Nazis were with the Jews. And we don't like them, we're going to kill them. Let's walk to the gas chambers together.
And she thinks,
what a sicko.
And she thinks we're the hateful ones.
Exactly. That tells you everything you need to know. What a sick woman. My goodness gracious. I just wanted to pull that up for you. I'd heard about that last week before we ended the show because I've been meaning to bring that up. But what a sickening person. But like I said, this is the Nazi mentality of rounding people up that don't agree with you. And this is how the Nazis felt about the Jews, is how they feel about us. It's insane that people think this way. They absolutely cannot see or appreciate another person's point of view. I'm curious to know how many abortions she has had. Obviously, quite
Jane
a few,
Fonda,
because she's very passionate about it.
But Lily Tomlin,
sure she's had a few.
Lily Tomlin's gay, so I imagine none.
She's probably had none. Her,
yeah. But Jane Fonda is real.
What a sickening thing to say.
A lot of people that are Vietnam veterans will tell you that they've never forgiven her, and I haven't either. What she did was a terrible thing. Well, listen, we're all out of time for today, but we will be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for listening.